Welcome back to the Motor House for some more fun. Unfortunately, my wife and I have been sick, so it limits a lot of things that I do out in the garage right now. So you might hear it in my voice. Sorry about that, but if you were paying attention at the very end of my last video, when I hinted I had something else I wanted to do with the engine stand, well, ta-da! I am working on turning the engine stand and another engine stand, I have three of them actually, so I had another spare one, into a rotisserie for painting the chassis. So that is what I have been working on. So basically, I ran a 1/2 inch all thread all the way through, and spacers because I want to be able to paint in there, and I didn't want washers because it would cover up a lot of that. This is just 1/2 inch electrical pipe, which works out really well. Angle, and I did a spreader bar to keep the angle from twisting. So, and it's just anchored to what I figured was the best center on this carrier. So I haven't tried it out yet. Let's put it that way. This is just some inspiration for a crazy idea that I've had. Now the back. I again took bolts, spacer, angle to a piece of channel, and then this will bolt to the arms of this engine stand. Of course, I'll have spacers in here, and that should carry the chassis for painting. Of course, haven't tried it yet, haven't got it on there and weight and spun it and all those other things. Right now it's kind of still on the carrier till I'm really sure about what I'm doing, because this is experimental. Never done this before, so I saw some rotisserie units out there that looked like they were nothing but engine stands modified. We'll say that theory. So I said, well, why can't I do that? And the reason I'm doing this is it came to me that as I'm trying to get the process in my mind of painting this chassis, is that yes, it's easy to paint it, and then you got to turn it. You got to turn it on this carrier, which means I'm going to be scratching everything I did, and it's a primer and final color coat. So that's a lot of damage of just something I just painted that I didn't want to happen. And I thought about, I mentioned before about maybe using eyelets. I was working on that possible of, getting it strung up and on eyelets. And then this hit me as maybe a better way to be able to rotate it and do everything I need to do with it. So I don't know if it'll do a full rotation, clear the floor. Don't know any of that. This is a nice heavy-duty engine stand. This much older one I have, is a whole lot more flimsier. So I'm thinking I'm going to put some weight on that, probably a couple bags for weight, just to ensure that it doesn't tilt over, because that's my biggest fear with this old version, these 3-wheel ones. Well, that's the plan, and let's see how far I progress with now. I have bolted the crossbar to the stand. I tried to use the arms to get a little further, but it just worked out better to do it this way. Holes lined up better, and so and I'll have to get some help to we'll say get the chassis up off the carrier and then on these two stands to make sure it's on its own. But right now, I have lowered the cross arms on the carrier here, and it's free floating. So it's free floating on it. So it's supporting it. It's moving, but of course, when it makes that big turn to be, we'll say, vertical, what's it going to do? How will it behave? Big question mark. All right. The chassis dolly is empty, and let's pan over here, and the chassis is on my rotisserie. Well, let's just say it's a partial rotisserie, and I'll explain that in a moment. But, so that fits well on there. And it was fun getting it off of the carrier. And then getting it, that's the whole thing, is lifting it up off the carrier. That was the fun part, and getting it set on there. But it does work well in holding this, and it is suspended pretty well. This older style engine stand has, it's not perfectly straight up and down. It's got a little canter to the back, but it's very little. Now if we go to the front, these are the downsides of doing this. If we go to the front, we can see that there's a whole lot more canter. Hopefully, if you can't, there's a lot more canter, and this is really kicked, pointing up for the engine stands, which prevents, we'll say, easy turning to a 90 degree. So I will, let me rotate this thing, and then I'll describe a little better what's happening. If you've noticed in my voice, I'm still sick. Prevents a lot of progress from getting made, unfortunately, but it happens, I guess, to all of us. Okay, so this is about as much as I can get it to rotate in order to paint. And of course, the floor will be clean. There'll be plastic under all around it, and but this does give me the ability to sit on a stool and paint this side, and then I can spin it the other way around. So I guess what, this isn't 90, but maybe 75, 80 degrees, as I'm able to get it. And it really has most to do with the angle that this, because when I try to spin it around, it's trying to work at the force going up, but that's about as all as I can get it. And it does get to the lock point, which is another good thing there. And it will go the other way. And it's just difficult to do with, let's say, one hand. And the engine stand moves on its own as this thing rotates. The engine stand moves back and forth. Let's see. We're about, that is about as much as I can get, we'll say, this way. But it moves and turns easily. That is the key, and it does give me access to paint it all the way around. Primer, finish, without, we'll say, major complications. At least so far. I haven't seen any that'll work on this other than it's low to the ground. But I can make that work. So this is my chassis rotisserie made up on 2 engine stands, and just say all cobbled together. But I think for what I need to do for painting it, it'll work out. And then I can put some liners on the carrier, the dolly over there for the chassis. And after it's all cured, put it back on there and start assembling like suspension pieces and different things on the chassis and get it. And, oh, engine news. Yesterday I dropped the engine off at Quicksilver Engines in Frederick, Maryland. They do have their own page on Facebook, if anyone's interested in looking them up. They do primarily race engines. It's an old-time shop, been around a while, and they have done previous Lotus engines. Just finished an Esprit engine up, and a twin cam, I think for Europa, was it? Or Elan? Don't remember. But it was a twin cam I saw sitting there. And the tour of their shop, I was impressed. And so I dropped it off to them. They will get to dismantling it and seeing what the engine condition is, and then we'll take it from there. And hopefully I'll have some content to share from their place. All right, I think that is enough for this video. I gotta get better. I gotta stop coughing. I gotta sleep at night. You know what happens when you get sick. So, all right, thanks for watching. Bye.